Hi guys, thank you so much for joining me on another exciting time on Chilling with Neye. I'm your host, Neye. Today I have a very special guest with me. I have the worship pastor, Simmons, here with me.
Good to be here with you.
Thank you so much. It wasn't easy getting him. He's super busy, but he made out time to spend some time with me today. So we will be talking about something a lot of people have experienced, which is losing a loved one. People have lost their kids, their fathers, mothers, husbands, and people will still lose loved ones. It's something that's going to keep happening. As long as we exist, life and death would always continue.
That's true.
I think his situation happened in 2005, and I experienced mine last year, 2018. But I'll let him go ahead and give you the details to what happened with him.
Oh, yes. Well, thank you, Neye.
You're welcome.
Yes, it was in 2005, on June 9th, our little boy, Joshie, passed away. He had been just a great 2.5-year-old, no indication of any major sicknesses or any kind of trouble with his health, any kind of chronic anything, It was just a normal day, We've had a pretty good life, but just a normal experience of a day. We dropped him off at preschool that day, and you know how kids in that age range they have runny noses and things like that,
Sure.
things that are happening. So nothing out of the ordinary with him, and that day was no different than any day. We dropped him off at preschool. And they told us that after preschool, that during the time of where they brought him home, and he was taking a nap there at Grandma's house, he just never woke up.
Oh my God!
And so this was very concerning. They had called the paramedics. Everybody came to the house, tried to revive him the best they could, and they had no success there. And so they took him to the hospital. So while we're heading to the house or that direction, they gave us a call that we were to go to the hospital and that they were taking him there. And so, man, you can imagine the things running through your mind. Just all of a sudden, at one moment, everything is fine. He's just the cutest as can be, and then the next moment, everything changed. And so we met him at the hospital, and our pastor was there, and it was such a help. He met us at the door. I can still remember him with his arms out and just saying, kind of telling us what the doctors had said, but telling us, hey, we're going to believe God to try to, to try to have him come back to life, to believe that, I don't know at this point if he was considered totally gone or not, but they hadn't got him back to life, and so quite a bit of time had passed. So we were like, yeah, let's engage our faith. Let's begin to pray. And we all, he was there with some others, and we just gathered around his bed and began to pray, began to cry out to God, using, every bit of faith that you can muster,
I know about it.
Oh, my goodness.
I know.
Boy, talk about a test of faith when you come up against situations. But we're going to face, like you said, as long as the earth remains, as long as life goes on, we know that death is going to happen. The Bible says that it's appointed unto man once to die.
Yes.
And so we're going to face this. It never seems to come at the right time, though.
No, it never does. No, it never does.
And especially when it comes to young little ones. Sure. I know I would have gladly said, I would take his place.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Gladly. If I could have traded places.
I know.
We knew that it was time to say goodbye. Just felt like that was what we needed to do. And so we prayed once again, gave our love, our kisses.
I'm so sorry for making you go through the process again.
It's okay. The Lord has done an amazing healing. Amazing. so that begins the path of a whole nother, thing in your life. And you're like, oh, I don't want to be defined by this. This is not what I planned. This is not the thing. But I'm really grateful for our pastor, for our good church that we were part of, our family.
Before then, I couldn't really relate to death as much. But after that experience, losing my 4-year-old daughter, it was... I saw death, like I knew what death was, because I was in a car crash with her. And so I can say I've seen death, I know the way it feels, I totally understand. But speaking with you and your wife, you encouraged me, you made me understand because you had gone through it. Because at the point I was like, how do I get past where I am right now? Because I felt stuck, you know? But speaking to you, listening to you, and seeing what God has done in your lives, not only did he give you another child, but he gave you children.
Yes.
Even though it won't replace, but it still brings joy.
Well, that's a good point, because a lot of things go through your mind in these situations. What about the future? What about new kids and things like this? I was in a service, life goes on, moments still happen, people, there's kids, there's things happening,
everywhere.
Your family has kids.
Yes.
And you've got to deal with being in the presence of little ones that are very similar, and allow that healing to take place, because it's a very real thing that's happening. And I remember being in church. Church is such a part of our lives, where they would do baby dedications, and they'd march up all of these kids and these families, and everybody would be just celebrating, and I'd be standing there on stage, and I'd just be, a part of me is like, oh God.
Yes.
I know, once you cross, it's like there's something when you get married, there's a thing you cross. But there's also something when you have your first child that you cross. And when you go the other direction, it's very unnatural.
Yeah.
It's very unnatural to go from having a child and then not. And the quietness, the emptiness that's there, the difference. You had that in you. That part was opened up and released, that mother, that father.
Yes, the unconditional love that children bring. Yes.
And it was there, and then now it's not there, and it doesn't feel natural. Like we said, I would gladly take the place. It doesn't seem right that a child precedes the father or the parents. And so, but it was in one of those moments that the Lord spoke to me, this thing that said, you have more in your account.
Amen.
And I said, it's kind of an odd, I just thought, well, that's an interesting phrase. You have more in your account, that you will be able to have, you'll have more. And I just had this understanding that I would have more kids, and that this was not the end of the story. And so that gave us hope. And then when we were in a service with Pastor Benny, he prayed over us. Such a beautiful thing, and he prophesied that we would have more children, more boys, and truly we did. We had 3 more boys, and right now I have a wonderful 12-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 4-year-old. And so
all you want to do is just blame God, because you feel, God, there is nothing too big for you. There is nothing impossible for you to do. You could have stopped this from happening. So how are you able to get out of that point?
Yeah, and that is a true wrestling of the soul, I guess, the mind, all the questions, all the things that you say, I could have done this. Well, what if we didn't take him to preschool? What if we stayed home from work that day? What if we, would it have changed? What if I had done this or that, or what if we had taken him to the doctor? Would they have known? The doctors told us later that it was myocarditis or something like that, where it's actually on the outside of the heart and some other organs that basically caused the body to just shut down. He was too old for SIDS, so they don't classify it as SIDS, but the effect is similar, that it was just like he kind of just shut down while he was sleeping. Very peaceful, But you find all those questions. What do we do? And is it God? Is it Satan? Was it me? Is it my fault? And it seemed like a never-ending merry-go-round. I don't know if I'll ever know the answer in this life, but I resolved to say, I won't blame you, God. That even though I don't know, I trust you, and that you will work in our lives and bring us through this. You know, Psalms 23 says, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. And that's what I experienced. I experienced that God walked with me in this horrible time. And can I share another thing?
Please go ahead.
I told you this before, I believe, but there was a moment I was sitting in the house, because it was at Grandma's house where everything happened, and it was one of those moments where you're like just remembering, trying to pull memories and trying to just be with him just again. You know, something totally natural. And it was like the Lord came and interrupted that moment. And now when I say he came, I didn't see him with my eyes. I didn't hear him with my ears, but in my heart, I heard him. I heard him. And he posed this question to me. How would you like for me to heal you? And I was like, well, that's a very interesting question. You know, because like, yeah, you want to be healed. But I thought about it. You know, when the Lord asks you a question, you want to make sure you try to answer it wisely, you know. And I felt like I was like, Lord, I want to be healed so much that I can live my life, not have this pain, not have this, you know, this immobilizing, you know, feeling that you just can't go on, you can't do anything. I want to be healed so that isn't the case, but I don't want to be so healed that I would be like, oh, did it ever happen? You know,
totally.
I was concerned that I would be like, people would think I was weird. You know, like, you lost your boy, and you're just like, you're like bouncing joyful all the time, and there's no human part of this. You know, so I mean, it's kind of strange, but that's the questions that I felt, and I said, so that's what I said to the Lord. Family is nice, friends are nice, but they go home.
Yes, they'll go home.
And you face the missing child or the loved one or whatever it is. You face that when you go to sleep, when you walk back into the same places that you did before, when you walk through the different anniversaries and the birthdays, and you go to those special places that you had. Healing can happen, and you can live again, and you can still appreciate them and hold on to the person and know, I mean, they were given to you. It's a gift. It's a joy. And to enjoy the memories, the good things.
Yes.
And have, as a believer, have the confidence that one day
we'll see them again. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for listening to us today. Thank you for joining us. And I pray and hope that the words we've said here today would help to mend your broken heart. And true to his words, you would heal again. I have healed, I'm still healing, and I've healed. God has been faithful. God has been great. You would dance, you would rejoice, you would praise God again, you would celebrate again. It's going to happen again. All right, don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep watching the station. Have a great day.